Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Carmelia Ray, and I'm a celebrity matchmaker, online dating expert, and relationship coach. I'm going to be sharing an article that was printed January 9th, or published January 9th, 2015. It is called The 36 Questions That Lead to Love by the New York Times. Now, I have referenced this article many times because these questions are said to help you discover love. So let me go through it right now. In Mandy Licatron's modern love essay, To Fall in Love with Anyone, Do This. Now, she refers to a study by the psychologist Arthur Aron and others that explores whether intimacy between two strangers can be accelerated by having them ask each other a specific series of personal questions. This 36 questions in this study are broken up into 3 sets. Now, with each set intended to be more probing than the previous one. The idea is that mutual vulnerability fosters closeness. To quote the study's authors, one key pattern associated with the development of a close relationship among peers is sustained, escalating, reciprocal, personal self-disclosure. Now, allowing oneself to be vulnerable with another person can be exceedingly difficult. So this exercise forces the issue. So let's go over question set number 1. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on what I think about the question and what I think and how I think you should safely answer this, right? So set number 1, given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Now, I actually had one of my clients tell me that in asking this question, the person responded with Kim Kardashian or Britney Spears or some pop culture icon. And he actually thought that that answer was so superficial for him that he ended up breaking up with her or being completely turned off because of all the people in the world that you can, want as a dinner guest, you're choosing this pop star. Now, someone else might think, no problem, that's awesome, no judgment there, right? But consider that this question probes a little deeper into who you idolize, who your heroes are, who you want to spend your valuable time with, and what you want to learn. So I find that question's really intriguing and opening, right? Very telling about what you can tell about someone. All right, number 2, would you like to be famous, and in what way? This is an interesting question because it kind of separates, in my mind, the introverts and the extroverts. Maybe not, because there's a lot of famous introverts, but again, would you want to be famous or not? Some people are a little bit afraid of fame and they just don't want that limelight, and others prefer something more private. Number 3, before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say and why? I'm not sure about this question. I know that if I'm going to make a very important call, or maybe a breakup call, or maybe asking somebody out, or whatever it is, something that is high stakes, yes, I know that I'm going to rehearse that phone call. Why? Because I don't want to mess it up. You only ever get one chance to make that first impression, especially if you're going to go into a bit of a negotiation. And for anybody in sales, of course you rehearse your telephone call because you want to make sure that you're presenting the right offer and that you're on the same page with your potential client. Number 4, what would constitute a perfect day for you? I love this question. Not only does it say a lot about what the person's interested in, it kind of gives you a hint too. How can you for me, I would think, oh, what's his perfect day? How can I be part of that? And or can I help facilitate this perfect day from happening? Number 5, when did you last sing to yourself or to someone else? Interesting question. I think I last sang to myself yesterday, and I sing to my daughter all the time. So, number 6, if you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? Ooh, great question. You have that, decision between, do you want a 30-year-old mind and not have dementia, or do you want to keep that 30-year-old body? But what's good with a 30-year-old body if the mind's gone, right? So very interesting. This, I think, opens up some interesting dialogue. Number 7, Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? Ooh, this is interesting. Maybe people do, maybe they don't. Number 8, name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common. Interesting. So I guess if you're in a married relationship, by the way, these questions lead to love, whether you are just dating someone, whether you're in the relationship, or maybe I can see these questions being an opportunity to open up with a partner that maybe the relationship has gone stale a little bit, and this gives you a chance to get vulnerable and get deeper with your partner. Number 9, for what in your life do you feel most grateful for? Love this question, and anytime that you're in the attitude and practice of gratitude, obviously there's those feel-good feelings, and you're in a place of inspiration and gratitude. So I love that. That will help you get closer to your partner. Number 10, if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? Interesting. All right, so why this is important is that now you get a sneak peek into this person's childhood, and you get an understanding a little bit about their upbringing. What would they want to change? Would they want to change where they lived? Would they want to change who their parents or siblings were? Cool question to ask, in my opinion. Number 11, take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story in as much detail as possible. Oh my God, 4 minutes? I think that would be difficult to do it in 4 minutes, but it would be interesting to see what they're pulling in terms of monumental moments within those 4 minutes. And then number 12, if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be? So there you go. That's the first set of 12 questions in this discovery of leading to love and getting to know someone. Imagine, do you know all of these answers to the questions in your current relationship? And is this information that you could use to help create a better bond? Let's move on to the second set of questions. Remember, every next set of 12 questions is meant to go a little bit deeper, and I'm curious to know what they are, so here we go. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know? Oh my goodness. Well, I think a lot of single people would want to know who they're going to end up with, if they're going to have a family. And for some people, those ambitious people, they might think, am I going to make it? Will I be that millionaire? Am I going to buy that dream house? So really cool question. Number 14, is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time? And why haven't you done it? Great. All right, so one of my things is I've dreamed of going back to the Philippines, but I haven't done it because of the pandemic, but that's going to happen very soon. Number 15, what is the greatest accomplishment of your life? Great question. I think it gives somebody an opportunity to boast a little bit about themselves and brag about their accomplishment, and also shows a little bit about their values, right? Maybe they think their biggest accomplishment was having a child, or their biggest accomplishment was buying a house. Who knows? But it helps to kind of dive deep into their psyche. Number 16, what do you value most in a friendship? Again, great question, sort of giving some insight into what matters to them when it comes to lifestyle, attitude, values, and goals. Number 17, what is your most treasured memory? Love this question. A walk down memory lane is an opportunity to share a little bit of your past in a fun way. Number 18, what is your most terrible memory? Yikes. This could go down a dark place. I would be very careful about getting into this kind of conversation with somebody really early. However, that vulnerability and kind of opening up the skeletons in your closet, I would say this as advice. If you are certainly going through a current trauma, I wouldn't be sharing anything that's happening currently. However, if you're able to share a terrible memory that doesn't take you to a dark place or that would make the situation weird, I would sort of share a terrible memory that you've overcome. I'll give you a recent example. I went to visit my girlfriend in Boston, had a little bit too much to drink. I'm holding her husband's arm hand in hand. I trip, okay, over this cobblestone, literally land on my hands and feet to the point where my knee was bleeding, my hand was bleeding, and I was a little bit out of it, but I bounced back super quick. That was kind of terrible but funny. I can say that because I laugh about it, and they were joking about it too. So the floor broke my fall, thank God, right? Anyway, I would only talk about terrible memories that you've recovered from and that don't take you to a dark place. Number 19, if you knew that in 1 year you would die suddenly, would you change anything about the way you're living now and why? Great question. Also helps you to realize and take a look at your life and think about, again, what are the things you need to do? What are the things that you might need to prepare in the case of a sudden loss? Who's left behind, right? So those are some important details to think about. Number 20, what does friendship mean to you? Great question. All right, we're going to continue with number 21. What roles do love and affection play in your life? I really like this question because it kind of determines and helps to see where you're at when it comes to affection. Some people on the affection scale, let's say 1 is not very affectionate, 10 being PDA, lots of kissing, hugging, all of that in public. You want to kind of know and gauge where you are at with this person. So I really love that question. Number 22, alternate sharing of something you consider a positive characteristic of your partner. So share a total of 5 items. I love this. I think it's okay when you're doing this exercise to understand and appreciate your highest values and the things that you're most proud of. It's also something that your partner or the person across from you may not even acknowledge or know that you do that. Maybe they don't know that you are actually an excellent swimmer or a world-class judo wrestler or whatever, right? It's so important for you to be able to be confident and to acknowledge yourself for success. Number 23, how close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? Great question. Also, if you had a terrible childhood, again, I would only go there and touch a little bit on the things that were, nice, and if they weren't nice, not to dive too much deep into the pain of that, right? Because still, these are questions that are going to help you identify your strengths and get close to someone. We don't want it going down a rabbit hole of darkness, all right? Number 24, how do you feel about your relationship with your mom or your mother, okay? Great question as well. Maybe touchy, but as you can tell, we're getting closer and closer now to even more deep dive and even more vulnerability. So we're on to the set 3, the last series of questions. All right, number 25. Make 3 true we statements. For instance, we are both in this room feeling tipsy or feeling attracted or whatever those feelings are, okay? Number 26, complete this sentence. I wish I had someone with whom I could share ... Now, if you're on a date, you could say, I wish I was with somebody whom I could share my last bite of my favorite sandwich, or the rest of my life, right? Whichever comes to mind. Number 27, if you were going to become a close friend with your partner, please share what would be important for him or her to know. Yikes. All right, so this is almost like the deal breaker, right? Hey, if we're going to be together, you have to know that I sleep on the right side of the bed, and that is a non-comparable position, okay? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's that you leave the toilet seat up. Maybe it's that you're messy, or maybe that you have a little bit of OCD. But whatever it is, it's kind of a peek into what it would be like to be with that person. Number 28, tell your partner what you like about them, and be very honest this time, saying things that you might not say to someone you've just met. Oh my God. All right, so I got that this exercise is literally meant for people that are kind of strangers, and going down this rabbit hole, I think it's appropriate in the time of the pandemic, right? As a matchmaker and a dating coach, we try to avoid really deep conversations. But if you're gonna go for it and you're gonna just, figure out what's the fastest way to screen and see compatibility, maybe these questions are it. Try it on. All right, number 29, share with your partner an embarrassing moment in your life. I think embarrassing moments are also opportunities to laugh at yourself. So find the sense of humor in that embarrassing moment. Number 30, when did you last cry in front of another person? And were you by yourself? Okay, when did you last cry in front of another person? And when did you last cry by yourself? Alrighty, I think I cried last at the movie I watched not too long ago. So I cry a lot. Number 31, tell your partner something that you like about them already. So it could be physical, it could be personality trait, it could be that you like their eyes, or that you like their style, or you like that they picked a great restaurant, right? Whatever it is, it's an opportunity to give them a compliment. Number 32, what, if anything, is too serious to be joked about? Now, some people will say, you do not joke about my mom, okay? Or do not joke about my weight, about my disability, about the way I eat. I don't know, but it's great to establish up front the things that you're really sensitive about, because you never know if the person across from you might crack a joke that you might think is completely inappropriate and you might find offensive. So it's great to establish that up front. Number 33, if you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone? And why haven't you told them yet? Yikes, man, are we getting really deep. These are some deep things that you want to go over with the person. No wonder they lead to love, because we are opening up a huge can of wounds here, and it's really important to see how you can manage those emotions and expectations. Number 34, your house containing everything you own catches fire. After saving your loved ones and pets, you have time to safely make a final dash to save any one item. What would it be and why? I think that people will say their safety deposit box, but who knows? Maybe it's their coffee maker, maybe it's mom's, last ring, whatever it is, but that creates a really great opportunity to find out what they hold really dear to their heart. Number 35, of all the people in your family, whose death would you find most disturbing and why? Dang, that's a really tough question, and something that will definitely open up more dialogue and an opportunity to get close. And finally, question number 36, share a personal problem and ask your partner's advice on how he or she might handle it. Now, also ask your partner to reflect back to you how you seem to be feeling about the problem that you've chosen. Wow, this is like being in front of someone saying something that you're being vulnerable because you're asking for help. So if I would say, you know what, my brother and I, we're fighting over something, we haven't spoken in 2 years, and these are the circumstances, what do you think? What's your advice? As an example, that's actually not my case, but I'm just giving up an example of how you can use that. Wow, I would be so curious to know what your thoughts are on these 36 questions. What was your favorite set? Was it set 1, set 2, or set 3? Do you have go-to questions that you ask when it comes to finding out more about someone and developing that deep intimacy? If you liked these questions, give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, we'll be back next week for more questions to answer to help you have an incredible dating life. See you next week.